Before you opened your shop this morning, if you have a shop, you probably ran your generator. Before the factory started work, if there's a factory near you, it ran its generator. And somewhere between Benue and Lagos, a truck full of tomatoes was sitting on the side of the road. Not because the driver got lost, because there was nowhere to store them, and by the time they arrived, half of them will be gone. This is not bad luck, this is the Nigerian economy. A nation with extraordinary land, extraordinary people, and extraordinary potential. Paying a hidden tax every day just to stay in business. The 5-star movement says the tax ends now. Let me name 3 things that are holding Nigeria's economy back right now. First, darkness. The lack of stable electricity forces every Nigerian business to run a generator. That generator costs money every hour it runs. It makes Nigerian goods more expensive to produce than goods made in Ghana, India, or Vietnam. We call this the darkness tax, and it is silently destroying Nigerian industry. Second, waste. Up to 60% of what Nigerian farmers grow never reaches the market. Tomatoes rot on the truck, yam spoils in the field, fish goes bad before it leaves the river state. Not because our farmers are not working hard, but because we have no cold storage, no refrigerated transport, no processing plant near the farm. We grow enough to feed ourselves and export to the world. We just cannot keep it long enough to sell it. Third, scale. The majority of Nigerian businesses are small and they are stuck small. Not because the owner lacks ambition, but because the industrial equipment costs millions of naira that no single trader can afford. So the trader uses hand tools while the world uses machines. And Nigeria loses the productivity gap every single year. The 5-star movement has a 5-pillar economic mandate. Let me walk you through it in plain language. First, we end the darknet tax. FSM will create dedicated industrial power corridors across all geopolitical zones with 24-hour electricity through off-grid and renewable energy solutions that do not depend on the national grid. When the factory has light, it makes goods. When it makes goods, it needs workers. When it needs workers, it pays wages. Power is not just an electricity problem. It is an employment problem, and we will solve it. Second, we give small businesses industrial power without asking them to buy a factory. FSM will establish trade hubs in every state centers where any small business, any trader, any farmer can walk in with raw goods and use industrial processing equipment that the government has subsidized for shared use. Cassava becomes starch, shea becomes cosmetics, plantain becomes chips. You bring the produce, the hub provides the machine. Third, we stop the 60% loss. A national cold chain fund, solar power storage at farm gates, refrigerated transport on key agricultural routes, and small processing plants built inside farming communities. What is invested in Benue should reach Lagos as a product, not as waste. Fourth, we build the workforce the world is willing to pay for. FSM will reform technical colleges so that they produce what the economy actually needs. Not just certificates, but skills. Skills in food processing, textiles, electronics, light manufacturing. The things that countries like China and India built entire economies on and that Nigeria is currently importing instead of making. Every company that hires and trains Nigerians gets a tax incentive because a job created in Nigeria is not just a salary, it is a family secured. Fifth, we make trade policy work for the farmers and the trader, not just the politically connected. Right now, tariffs and import bans are changed arbitrarily. An investor builds a factory based on a trade policy, and one phone call from the right person dismantles everything they built. FSM will end this. Every tariff, every trade restriction, every import ban must pass what we call the posterity test. Does this policy make ordinary Nigerian more productive? Does it benefit the factory owner with the right connections? If a policy fails the posterity test, it does not get implemented. And we will rank every state government annually on jobs created, manufacturing growth, and post-harvest waste reduced, published publicly every year. Because what gets measured gets done. I want to tell you what Nigerians looks like when this mandate works. A trader in Aba opens a processing business at 7 in the morning. The lights are on. They were on all night. She processes the cassava into starch using equipment that they trade up down the road. The starch goes into cold storage. A refrigerated truck picks it up in the afternoon. By Friday, it is in a Lagos supermarket. By the following week, it is an export container. A business employs 4 people, then 8, then 12. A farmer in Benue harvests his tomatoes and drives them not to watch them rot, but to the cold storage facility 3 kilometers from his farm. He gets a fair price. He comes back next season with a larger farm. A young man from a technical college in Kano, trained in electronics assembly, is hired by the manufacturing plants that moved into industrial power corridor. He is earning, he is building, he is staying. This is not a dream. It is a plan, a serious plan with specific mechanisms and a 25-year commitment. And it starts with fixing the basics that should have been fixed a long time ago. The 5-star movement is asking for your engagement with these ideas. A full productive economic mandate, every proposal, every mechanism, every target is published and available at 5star.ng. Read it, share it, join us.